I'd like to ask you now, you are about to make a transfer and you are preparing your ultrasound, and there you find a small polyp of 0.5 centimeter in the center of the uterus. And what's your decision then?
You must have seen it before.
Yeah, we pick it up before.
Before.
We can pick it up before, but it might have grown in the same cycle, and you are facing it. You are facing the situation. Would you freeze, stop, keep on? The polyp of 0.5 centimeters at the time of transfer. We had one answer here. Transfer one.
He gave it to me. He gave it to me. Well, fortunately, again, this is not an experience I have had, so I can only speak theoretically. I personally don't think that every polyp is a problem. I think whether polyps are problems by itself is probably a reasonable question to ask, but we consider polyps primarily a problem if they are in the implantation area. And roughly 95% of implantation, of course, takes place in the fundal area of the uterus. So if I had this hypothetical situation where suddenly during transfer I see a polyp, I would say unless it was a reasonable sized polyp that is situated right in the fundal area, I would, under ultrasound, avoid the polyp with my catheter and otherwise not worry.
No, if I would be faced with this surprise, I would cancel the cycle and would do a hysteroscopy and remove the polyp.
I think
and freeze.
I would agree, because we face a big situation here of patients having invested so much time and effort. If they don't get pregnant, they will blame it on the polyp and why we didn't take it out. We tend not to find that problem because we do a pre-cycle sonography, hysterosonogram. But if we were faced with that and with consultation with the patient, we would opt for canceling the cycle.
It's obvious that some of the cases are created in the same cycle, so it's not that the pre-cycle ultrasound, because they depart from zero endometrium.
Salim, can you quote any reliable data that would suggest that a polyp of average size really does anything negative to an IVF cycle?
It's a theoretical.
There was a small study in the last AIUM presented, and the cutoff point was 5 millimeters. According to them, if the polyp is less than 5 millimeters, you can go ahead. And
was it published?
On the abstract of the last AIUM.
Okay, but it wasn't published.
I don't know whether they all really published it. But
I am not aware of a single study in the literature, even though we all do what was discussed. We all take polyps out. But I am not aware of a single study that has shown that a little polyp makes any damn difference to IVF outcome.
Anyhow, this study, although it hasn't published yet, demonstrates 5 millimeters the cutoff point. I'll send you the data.
There is one study that looked at submucous polyps, very small, submucous fibroids. Very small.
Yeah,
very, very small ones.
But fibroids is a completely
different. It's a different question. We didn't raise it today.
Yeah.
That's the last one.
Question. The same kind of question. I'm Jean-Marc Mayenga from Sèvres.
Louder, we can't hear you.
We don't hear anything.
I'm Jean-Marc Mayenga from Sèvres. The same kind of question. How do you deal the presence of what we call a swimming pool, uterine swimming pool, at the day of
fluid in the uterine cavity?
At the day of
fluid in the uterine cavity at the time of transfer. That's a good question.
Yes,
very valid.
Just to the second question and comment, as we are talking about situations which are beyond the embryo observation into the laboratory, which has shown its limits now. Don't you think that what is the opinion of the panel about assessment of the embryo through the secretion profile of the embryo or granulosa cells or the medium, the culture medium of the embryo, as it's a topic which is in actuality?
I think we'll take only the first question because the other one is out of the way, is long, and we have another question to tackle. So when you have fluid in the uterus, what would you do?
I will not do the transfer.
You will do?
No, I will not do the transfer. The question will be, what are you doing? I mean, there is two possibilities: to take it off smoothly, I mean, the aspiration of the fluid liquid to see if the embryo are going on blastocyst stage, and to put it, or to decide to freeze and immediately and to make another transfer to understand what happened. There is two possibilities, and I don't know exactly which is the best, if there is the best one.
Oftentimes the fluid there is from hydrosalpinx, and we know the evidence with respect to hydrosalpinges and lower implantation rates. So I would agree that we would cancel the cycle.
I have seen at least 5 cases where the fluid in the cavity is repeated in each cycle. And most of them, 4 of them, were after cesarean section. And I think cesarean section has to add the risk because it's not fluid, it's cervical mucus that goes in because of change anatomy due to the cesarean section, especially when the cesarean section was done not in the isthmus but in the cervical canal. I'm usually aspirating it immediately before the transfer, and I had successes.
You make the transfer immediately?
I do it immediately after. And if you follow up, it is caused by cervical mucus, as I say, because it disappears when the progesterone level is increasing.
So wait for blastocyst and see if it disappears, then it's mucus, then you transfer. Okay, that's practical idea. I think we are closing down, so these are 2 comments and that's it for this question, and then we have the last one.
Yes, I just wanted to comment. I basically do the transfers on day 4, and I usually don't see it, but on cases when I need to do it on day 2, on day 3, then occasionally there is, and it is mucus. It's very difficult to suck it out. But in those cases, I just wait 1 or 2 days and then go back to the transfer, and then the mucus is gone.
So I think there should be a study looking at cesarean section, this, and then aspirate it and send it for checkup to see if it's mucus or fluid or what is it, because mucus would look differently immediately. You'll notice it. Are we done? Last one and we move.
We are usually looking at the endometrium at the time of egg collection. So usually if there's mucus, you can see the time of egg collection, and you are aspirating the mucus at the time of egg collection, and then at embryo transfer usually, if you are not seeing the mucus, you can replace safely the embryos. Okay.
Thank you.